Hello, fellows. My name is Gabriel Allen, but you can call me Gabe. This is the fifth installment of my daily update series. First, I'll open us up in prayer, and then I'll do my daily readings, and then I'll discuss my day in brief. Saturdays are the hardest day to get a video done just because I'm not getting home from work until 2 a.m. But I've dedicated myself to this, and I'm going to do it. Again tonight, there is a very needy cat in my lap, so please excuse whatever she might do while I'm recording this. Let's dive in. Father God, I again come to you in prayer that you might help me to get as much as I can out of these daily readings. I realize that I have been asking the same thing every night as I do these readings, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's good to know what you want to get out of something, and I think I am asking for a good thing, so I think it's okay. I pray that you would also bring me a little bit of enlightenment as to how I may be able to improve upon my prayers. That you would help me to grow in all aspects of my faith. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Today we're going to be reading from Genesis 11, Genesis 12, Genesis 13, and Hebrews 5. Genesis 11. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he fathered Arpachshad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shelah, and Arpachshad lived after he fathered Shelah 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he fathered Eber, and Shelah lived after he fathered Eber 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he fathered Peleg, and Eber lived after he fathered Peleg 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he fathered Reu, and Peleg lived after he fathered Reu 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he fathered Serug, and Reu lived after he fathered Serug 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he fathered Nahor, and Serug lived after he fathered Nahor 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he fathered Terah, and Nahor lived after he fathered Terah 119 years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he fathered Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran fathered Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son's Abram's wife. And they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans, to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Now the Lord said to Abram, Go forth from your country, and your kindred, and your father's house, to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So Abram went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran, and Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land to the place at Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, To your offspring I will give this land. So he built there an altar to the Lord, who had appeared to him. From there he moved to the hill country on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed on, still going toward the Negeb. Now there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, I know that you are a woman beautiful in appearance, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife. Then they will kill me, but they will let you live. Say you are my sister, that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared for your sake. When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful, and when the princes of Pharaoh saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and for her sake he dealt well with Abram. And he had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. So Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that they had, and Lot with him, into the Negeb. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And he journeyed on from the Negeb as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had made an altar at the first. And there Abram called upon the name of the Lord. And Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the land could not support both of them dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. At that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites were dwelling in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the land on the left, then I go to the right, or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and saw that the Jordan valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, in the direction of Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all the Jordan valley, and Lot journeyed east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the valley and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, Lift up your eyes, and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land that you see I will give to you, and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring also can be counted. Arise, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I will give it to you. So Abram moved his tent, and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. Hebrews 5. For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sin. He can deal gently with the ignorant and wayward, since he himself is beset with weakness. Because of this, he is obligated to offer sacrifice for his own sins, just as he does for those of the people. And no one takes this honor for himself, but only when called by God, just as Aaron was. So also Christ did not exalt himself to be made a high priest, but was appointed by him who said to him, You are my son, today I have begotten you. As he says also in another place, You are a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek. In the days of his flesh, Jesus offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death, and he was heard because of his reverence. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered, and being made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him, being designated by God a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. About this we have much to say, and it is hard to explain, since you have become dull of hearing. For though by this time you sought to be teachers, you need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of God. You need milk, not solid food, for everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, since he is a child. But solid food is for the mature, for those who have their powers of discernment trained by constant practice to distinguish good from evil. Again, today's readings were from Genesis 11, 12, and 13, and Hebrews 5. Today was, as most of my recent days, rather slow again. I didn't really expect to get anything done today, because Saturdays are kind of strange for me. In addition to working my evening job from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Saturdays, I also work a short kitchen shift as a favor to a friend. I do get paid. It's not like I'm not getting paid, but it's nothing extraordinary. I work like 2.5 hours, about 2:30 to 5 o'clock. So, I mean, it's not like I do anything with that time anyways, usually. So I'm not, if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it. But it does kind of close off pretty much the whole of Saturday, especially if I don't wake up till noon after being up late at work on Friday night and then putting together this video afterwards. It does make Saturday kind of a wash. But I got up about 12:30 or something this afternoon, and then hung out for a little bit, just kind of watched some YouTube, and then I went to work, came home for my break, essentially, between 5 and 8. Didn't do much of anything then either, and I went to work. I have had a really slow weekend at work. It is Memorial Day weekend, so we kind of think that everybody just went to the lake, partied out on the lake, and crashed afterwards. Um, Nothing of much excitement today. I did catch one fake ID that was okay. I've seen a lot better, but I've seen a lot worse. I was kind of looking at it after we turned the guy away. I was looking at it and I was interested. It turned out it was a printed blank card. It had all the background stuff of the ID on a blank card, and then it had a sticker with all of the person's detailed information laid on top of it, front and back. I hadn't really taken time to take a close look at most of the fakes that I've received, just because I didn't really care much, but the urge struck me. My manager was chatting with one of his longtime friends that had come in, and the friend was asking about the guy that worked the door before I did. He was a tough guy, former Marine, kind of no nonsense. He was chill with coworkers, but I was standing there because I was at the front door having this conversation that was happening, and the manager said, "Yeah, he left. He went back to school, put in his 2 weeks, and left. No hard feelings there." And he said, "Wow, Gabe, though, I mean, he's good at catching fakes." Kind of made me happy. I mean, who doesn't like praise? I can read between the lines there. It's kind of a criticism sandwich. Hit him with the praise, a little bit of criticism. Here's another thing you did well. I kind of read between the lines there of, yeah, I'm really very good at catching fake IDs, but maybe I'm not so good at other parts of the job. And admittedly, a bouncer ought to be a little intimidating and ought to be good in a fight if it ever does come up. And not to say that I can't be intimidating, because I am not the biggest guy you've ever seen, but I'm fairly physically imposing to some people. I definitely get customers that are my size and bigger, but I am about 6'3", 210 pounds or so. And I mean, not all of it's muscle, but some of it is. And I have a honed skill of being able to flip the switch from nice and friendly to no nonsense and maybe not rude, but forceful. I can change from, "Hey, how's it going? You having a good night? Yeah, great," to, "Oh, where's your real ID?" No, that's not what I asked. I said, "Where's your real ID?" "Nope, you don't? Okay, go home." "Nope, I did not. No, I am not giving you an option. Go home." And I think that's good enough for the most part. As for the physicality of a fight, I did grow up with two brothers. Admittedly, they're both younger, but they're not too much younger. Young enough that I always won fights just because I was bigger at the time. But old enough that I had to fight for it. Dad was always a proponent of taking it outside, and in his words, don't come back until there's a winner. And if we thought we were done, we would come back inside, and Dad would say, okay, who won? And if there was a disagreement about who won, back outside. Don't come back until we know who won decisively. And, I think it was actually good for us. As weird as that sounds. But I am getting off topic. Point being, I caught a fake ID tonight. We turned him away. And that was about the extent of our excitement for the evening. It was a remarkably slow weekend. I expect that we're going to be hit pretty hard next weekend when everybody's back, because they didn't go out this weekend. But we'll have to find out next Thursday night. Regardless, I think I've rambled on long enough. It's already 2:25. Anyways, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.